Recently, I was with one of my buyer clients previewing a home, and we thought this was it. It checked all the boxes. It was renovated, had a beautiful backyard, and the price was right. So when we walked into this home, we thought, yeah, this is it. This could be his dream home. And then we noticed this. When we entered the kitchen, I happened to look down at the floor, and I noticed about a 1.5, 2-inch gap between the edge of the flooring and the sliding glass door. I thought that was weird. And then I was able to take my foot and slide the entire floor. It was basically one big sheet of laminate flooring. Now, when you first walked in, it looked like tile. We thought maybe, oh, this is luxury vinyl. Oh no, the homeowner took one big sheet of laminate floor, laid it down, and left it. Didn't glue it, didn't nail it down, nothing. Big red flag. In this video, I want to share with you the red flags you need to look out for. Even though you think you're in your dream home, these could lead to a potential disaster and cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. When you're looking at homes, your real estate agent should be looking for these red flags, but you should be looking for them as well. So I hope you find this video valuable today. Let's get into that list right now. The first red flag I'm going to point out is fresh paint in odd areas. So meaning that you see fresh paint painted in one section of a ceiling. The entire ceiling wasn't painted. Or on a wall. You notice that somebody had painted like over a patch. They did a repair. So that's kind of a red flag to me because what are they hiding? And why didn't you paint the entire ceiling? Look, I get it. You know, sometimes you're in a hurry. You want to fix something and be done with it. But if you're doing that, you're just covering one section. It makes me question what else is wrong with the house. What else did you have repaired that you're trying to cover up? So that kind of stands out to me. So that's one red flag you need to look out for. Okay, the next red flag, let's talk about unusual smells when you walk into a home. Okay, I'm talking about like candles burning, those plug-in air fresheners. Yeah, that's a big problem. So here's another little story for you. Years ago, I was helping a young couple house hunt. We found a great house on the cul-de-sac in the town they wanted to live in. It was checking all the boxes. Okay, dream home. This is it. We found it. But when we walked through that door, instant headache. Why? The homeowner had left multiple candles burning in the house. There was one in the kitchen, one in the family room, there was one in one of the bedrooms, and then there was one in the lower level. It was a split level home. So we'd go down a little flight of stairs. There was another candle burning down there. Oh my gosh. Right away, we were like, what are they hiding? What smells are they trying to cover up in this house? It could have been pet odors. We couldn't figure out what the other smell could have been because the candles were so strong. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I literally had a headache walking into that. So that tells me right there, they're covering something up. And that dream home, yeah, that turned out that wasn't their dream home. That my buyers walked out of there and they said, nope, they're hiding something and we don't want to deal with that. And they didn't want to put an offer in. I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. So if you notice that walking into a house, or if you notice those little plug-in air fresheners in the walls, yeah, that's not a good sign. And just a little side note, I'm digressing a little bit here, but those real estate agents, when you tell your homeowners before you host an open house, go bake some cookies before we have the open house. This way the house smells like the chocolate chip cookies. It makes the house warm and inviting. Don't do that. Because to me, you're hiding something. I'm sorry to say that. I know you want to make the house all nice and pretty and warm and inviting. Do not do that. Because people will pick up on that right away and say, what the heck are you hiding here? Are there pet stains here? Is there water damage? What have you? Just don't do that. Another red flag are signs of DIY renovations or repairs. Now, just like I mentioned in the beginning of this video with the flooring in that house where the whole floor moved, that's a really bad sign. So clearly that homeowner did that job because no professional contractor would install a floor that way unless you get a really bad contractor. Okay, I know you're probably saying as you're watching this right now, like what the heck is she talking about? There are bad contractors out there. I know, but for the most part, when you see things like that, if you see uneven flooring, if say tiles are mismatched or they're uneven on the floor or on the backsplash, more than likely the homeowner did that job. And you have to be very careful because if they didn't do that correctly, what else is wrong with the house? Okay. That's the first thing I always think about. Like if they repaired this, what else did they repair that wasn't done correctly? Now, one thing you can do if you notice that there was renovations done or an addition that was put on and you're questioning it, the quality of the work, you can always go to the local town hall or municipality and you can request to see the permits on that home. If there are no permits on that home, that tells you that the work was not done by a professional. They weren't. So, big red flag. Big red flag if you see these DIY fixes. Just, it's not worth it. Hey, if you are looking for a home or you want to sell your home in your market and you need to get a referral for a great agent in your area, click that link down below, fill out the form, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can and get you connected to a real estate agent in your area. Okay, another red flag. Let's talk about foundation cracks and also cracks in the ceilings and in the walls. Now, I can tell you probably about 100% of the time when I'm working with buyers, and especially first-time buyers, when they notice cracks in the ceiling or cracks in the wall, they panic. And they're like, oh, why is that crack there? What's wrong with the house? What's wrong with the foundation? So that's not an indicator that there's something wrong with the structure. Okay. Typically, when you see cracks in the ceilings or sometimes going down the wall, a lot of times homeowners don't notice it. They're not always looking up at their ceilings. So they don't notice these cracks. And so if they don't notice it, they're not going to patch it up. So again, if you notice these cracks in the ceilings, those are normal debt settlement cracks. Now, let's talk about foundation cracks. I get this a lot. If you notice vertical cracks in the foundation and in the basement, those are normal. That's also settlement cracks as well. That normally happens over time as the house settles. But if you see horizontal cracks, cracks that are wider than 1/10 of an inch, or if the crack looks like steps, we call them step cracks, big red flag. That's an issue with the foundation. Usually what causes that is the soil surrounding the house is pushing against that foundation, and that's what's causing it to crack. So if you see those types of cracks in the foundation, that's a big, big red flag. I don't care how much you love that house. If it's your dream home, that is a huge disaster. You do not want to take that on. So I'd be running away, running fast from that. So let's talk about my favorite red flag is water issues. I don't want to say it's my favorite, but this is a big red flag I'm always looking for when I'm walking through a house. Now, I'm talking about you see water stains on the ceilings and water stains in the basement, or if you notice signs that the basement had taken on water at some point. So when you're in a basement, especially if it's unfinished, you may see a line going across the foundation that could be a few inches up from the floor. That tells you that there was water there at one point. Also, if there are dehumidifiers running, I get it. We all use dehumidifiers because basements get damp, but that is a sign as well. I would be careful because that tells you maybe they're trying to pull the moisture out. Maybe the basement did recently take on water. So here's a little piece of advice. The best time to go look at a house is in bad weather when it's raining really hard. Now, look, I know you can't always time it that way, right? You don't want to watch a weather report and say, hey, it's raining. Let's go look at houses. I know you have to work around your schedule. But when my clients and I go look at a house and if it's raining out, they complain. They're like, oh, we're going out in the rain to go house hunting. And I tell them this is the best time to go look at a house because you will be able to tell whether or not if there's any leaks in the roof, there's leaks in the windows, or even in the basement. So let me share with you a story about why it's important to look at houses during bad weather. Years ago, I was helping my client purchase a home. It was built in like 1906. Okay. And back then the foundations were typically made of stone, like limestone. And we noticed that the walls in the basement had like this white coating over it. And the homeowner said, oh, that was waterproofing. Because we all know typically these older homes that are over 100 years old, they do take on water. They do because of the foundation. It happens. So they said we had it waterproofed. Great. Okay, fine. Now, fast forward to the home inspection. It was pouring rain that day. I'm telling you, it was bad. It was coming down in buckets. So we go down to the basement and sure enough, what do we see? There was water running down the walls. I'd never seen anything like it, but oh my word, it was bad. We went back to the homeowner and we said, you got water coming through your basement walls. Are you sure it was waterproofed? And they swore up and down that it was waterproofed. Well, clearly it's not working too well, or maybe you really didn't waterproof it. So yeah, so a bit of advice. If you're going out to look at homes on a rainy day, I highly recommend it because it's the best time to see how that house can withstand harsh weather conditions. Another red flag is poorly maintained landscaping. Okay. And I'm talking about if you have overgrown bushes in front of a house, you have trees that are overgrown and they're like touching the house or they're really close to the house, red flags. Now, especially when it comes to trees that are really super close to the house, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I would be questioning that. Okay. Because number one, you're going to allow like bugs are going to get into the house, like you have ants and even critters. Okay. Especially if a tree is touching the roof line, you could end up getting squirrels in your attic. Yeah, it's not fun. That's not fun. But I would also be looking to see if the property is sloped. If it's sloped towards the house, you're going to have water issues. And like that means the water during a heavy rainstorm is going to be going towards your house, towards the foundation, therefore wearing down the foundation and eventually bringing water into the basement. So big red flag there. And look, if you love the house, just be prepared. You're going to have to spend some money on fixing that landscaping, and especially with the trees. Speaking from experience, we bought our house. We realized that there were some trees like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have them so close to the house. We've spent several thousands of dollars over the years removing trees. So that is another red flag I would be looking out for. Okay, another red flag. Let's talk about seller's disclosures. And I'm referring to disclosures that has like vague information. They're putting unknown down on when answering questions as far as the age of the roof and the HVAC and the water heater and all that, or if there's a missing disclosure altogether. Now, here in New Jersey, it's a law as of August of last year. You have to have a seller's disclosure if you're going to be listing your home on the market. Now, I hate to say it, I'm still seeing some listings here and there that don't have seller's disclosures. I'm not trying to call people out, but I'm calling you out. But even so, you can't rely on these seller's disclosures 100%. Now, if they're putting down unknown for the age of the roof, it's very possible they bought the house a few years ago and they bought the house not knowing the age of the roof. And that's why they're saying it's unknown. They don't know how old it is, but it still could potentially be a red flag. I hate to say this, most homeowners are not 100% honest on these disclosures. So what do? You make sure you hire a licensed, reputable home inspector to inspect everything. Seller's disclosures are not what they're cracked up to be, and I hate to say it, you cannot rely on them 100%. So do your due diligence, do your own home inspection, and make sure that you are covered and the home inspector points out any other issues. So these red flags are super important to look out for when you're looking at your home, and I know you may love it, but if you see these red flags, I would be thinking twice about buying a home. Now, when you hire your real estate agent, you may think they're great, and you trust them, but you got to be careful. And there are certain things you should never say to that real estate agent. And if you want to learn more about it, you can watch this video right here. Thank you so much for watching me today to get your dose of real estate reality. My name is Jackie Baker, and I will see you next time.